And so what are people to believe? They take their cues from our leaders. They take their cues from the people who are supposed to know these things and are supposed to protect us. And if those people are basically lying in public, that unfortunately has massive repercussions.
I'm skeptical if people are taking their cues from RFK. I got to be honest.
Well, what's happening, everybody? Welcome to yesterday's news channel, where we watch CNN so you don't have to. Tonight, you're going to see the perfect example of hypocrisy. Earlier this week, on an episode of The Arena with Kacie Hunt, the woke CNN panel spends the entire segment attacking RFK Jr. and lecturing Americans about vaccines. Now, don't get me wrong, Shermichael Singleton was a beast and exposed them for just how stupid they are. But the best part of this video is an old clip of CNN's evidence of something we already know. They're next level hypocrites. You're going to want to watch this one. Anyway, let's watch Shermichael Singleton make short work of the panel. Then I'll show you the proof from CNN's own past that makes this so much worse, which I didn't know it could get any worse. Let's go.
Everywhere in the world, apparently, except at this Senate hearing.
So Shermichael Singleton, you're a new parent.
I am.
There were a lot of parents at the table, right? Obviously, the bottom line question here is, can Americans trust the leadership of these organizations that tell them, hey, you might not know how to read this scientific paper, you may not have done this study, but we can tell you that giving your child this vaccine will make them safer because it will prevent this disease that they might otherwise get, and that it's not going to hurt them. And you saw the data that Dr. Gupta put up there that says all these people have heard, 33% have heard incredibly damaging misinformation about the MMR vaccine.
I think they can. I was looking at an NIH study that came out 2 or 3 years ago, and the data was very interesting. When they asked people if they trusted doctors writ large, I think it dropped down like 40%. But when they asked, do you trust your personal doctor, it was like 70, 80%. And so I think this thing with RFK is somewhat analogous of maybe where some in the country are moving in terms of skepticism. But I'm not worried, because the NIH studies still show that most people are saying, look, I trust my personal doctor. If my personal doctor is advising me to do certain things for my personal health or the health of my kids, people are still listening to that. And I think that's really, really important. And so despite how interesting this hearing was, I think most Americans are saying, look, maybe I have questions about things. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a doctor. But I know if my personal physician is telling me to do something for my health or the health of my family, I'm going to listen. And to me, Kacie, that's a good thing.
There are all kinds of people who do trust. There's a reason why they call themselves Maha Moms.
Yeah, look, I don't know if that's representative of the majority of people in the country, though.
Well, our polling shows that it's not, but
again,
it is growing.
I think even people who are skeptical, though, at least at this point, are still saying, as it pertains to their personal relationships with their personal physician, they trust that individual. And to me, that is a very good sign, because what it is telling me is that people may, again, be skeptical of certain things writ large. Maybe you look at opioids. If you're a person of color and you're from the South, you can go back 60, 70 years and remember those experiences. But as it pertains to individual experiences with a personal physician, people are saying, I trust that person. That gives me a lot of hope about where we're moving.
Kacie, this is wildly irresponsible, though, is the problem, because we might all like and trust our doctors, but this is the Secretary of Health and Human Services who has just gone out on television and told senators that he does not trust the science that is settled science. He does not trust the scientists in his own administration. He does not trust scientists and science writ large. And so what are people to believe? They take their cues from our leaders. They take their cues from the people who are supposed to know these things and are supposed to protect us. And if those people are basically lying in public, that unfortunately has massive repercussions.
I'm skeptical if people are taking their cues from RFK. I got to be honest.
Well,
as a new parent, I'm not
the
taking my cues from RFK.
No,
and
but
most of my friends who are
here-
parents aren't either. They're doctors.
You may
Like,
not
if you
have
think
to
about
take
that,
your
why
cues
is it-
from him, but he is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he is an anti-vaxxer. He is very skeptical. That is the point here.
Just speaking from personal experience, I have never in my entire life seen a woman pull off the old shirt and tie look. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments. Shermichael never misses. We've got to show him love at yesterday's news channel, because he's one of only 2 people that we've covered that has ever reached out. I don't think he knows it, but I've designated him as a friend of the show. Hope that's okay with him. I mean, he could say, I don't want to be associated with that slop and that really handsome host that spews nonsense. What were we talking about again? Oh, yeah. Remember how aggressive they just now were about saying you must comply, you must obey, you must get your vaccines for the greater good. Because when you see what CNN themselves used to say a few years back in 2010, you're going to realize just how deep their hypocrisy runs. Check it out.
Campaign to vaccinate tens of millions of Americans against the H1N1 or swine flu, as you know it, kicked off today. There's a new poll out from the Harvard School of Public Health that only 40% of adults say they are absolutely certain they're going to get the vaccine. That means most of the country is either on the fence or they're not going to do it. The reasons they're giving is they're concerned about possible side effects from the vaccine. They don't think they're at risk of serious illness, and they think that if they do get it, that they're going to be able to get Tamiflu or Relenza or one of these medicines. I mean, aren't those valid reasons to maybe skip it?
With regard to risks, there is no question, Campbell. It would be dishonest to say that we know for sure that vaccine is going to be safe for everybody. You give a vaccine to a couple 100 million people, there are going to be problems. And we won't even know if those problems are related to the vaccine. But to be fair to many Americans who are concerned, there's probably going to be some issues that arise with the vaccine, but we think they're going to be exceedingly rare. Even if they're as bad as they were in 1976 with the immunization given for the swine flu that resulted in Guillain-Barré, the incidence of getting that wasn't that much different from getting hit by lightning. The proverbial risk factor most of us shy away from.
You were telling a mother who is trying to decide myself whether to get my kids vaccinated when the time comes, and I'm reading this, 51% of parents, only 51% are absolutely certain. I'll be honest, I'm in that 50% that isn't absolutely certain. So how do you convince me? How do you convince the other parents out there that we need to do this?
Campbell, I'm going to get it.
Yes.
If that helps at all, but I'll tell you, my wife is not getting immunized her kids. Because I've got 4 of them, and when I go home, I'm not Dr. Oz, I'm Mr. Oz.
I told you that was good, right? Straight from CNN's own archives. Back then, they nodded along as Dr. Oz openly said he didn't vaccinate his own kids. And the CNN host just agreed without hesitation. No outrage and no shaming, just acceptance. Fast forward to today, and anyone who questions the narrative gets branded as reckless or dangerous. Not that you all needed more evidence, but that's not science with these people, it's politics. And it proves exactly what Shermichael Singleton showed in real time. CNN doesn't care about consistency or facts. They care about control. This is exactly why Americans don't trust the media anymore. It's not just that they get things wrong sometimes. It's they change their story whenever it's convenient and pretend they've always been consistent. Between Shermichael and the old clip, it proves what we all know. Hypocrisy is the only constant at CNN. If they can flip-flop this shamelessly on something as serious as your health and your kids, why would you believe them on anything else? But what do you guys think? Was Shermichael's takedown the best moment here? Or does the old clip bother you even more? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, that's it for this video. I asked you all yesterday to really engage with the video and click all the buttons to support the channel. And I just want to tell you, you did. And I'm really, really grateful. I could just see, the number of likes, the number of comments. They were significantly higher than usual. So I really appreciate it. But if you watch me with any regularity, also, I'd really, really appreciate if you'd subscribe. And I promise, just watch a little more. You'll like me. I'm a good guy. But my subs have really been lagging lately, so any help, I'd really appreciate it. Another special shout out to Cynthia. Cynthia, thank you so much again for the super thanks. It made my already good day even better. So thank you again. You're very, very generous. Thank you all so much for taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch my video. It means a ton to me. Always put God first. I'll see you guys.